I have in front of me here a projector that was sent to me by Toptro. Interestingly, I was going to order this on Amazon Prime, and they actually reached out to me, I think, during Amazon Prime Day. Well, I was potentially going to do this review anyways if I decided to pick it up, and they decided to send it over, which kind of sealed the deal, obviously. So clearly I was interested in it because I was debating buying it on my own. The price was really good on Amazon, at least in Canada, quite good. And it's a little mini projector. I kind of just decided that I'm into mini projectors randomly. So what do we have here? We have our manual, a cloth, I suppose, for cleaning the lens, two Q-tips and a screwdriver, no idea, a power, audio, so left and right channel RCA into auxiliary, control, doesn't have batteries in it, I think I'll have to get some batteries, and HDMI. So it's not huge, it's also not tiny, it's kind of a medium-sized projector. It has a lens cover there. That's probably an infrared for the clicker. Radiator to get some heat off because these things produce heat. Radiator in the back there, that's good. Another infrared or a primary infrared. So I guess you can get signal from front or back. HDMI in, headphone in, or speakers, of course, you could do that as well. And then two USBs. Hook up USB so that you can actually load content right off of it, and then power. Oh, and a little screw thing on the bottom so that we can screw it on to a stand, which I will do. Manual focus, oh, power. These are focus then. Focus up, focus down. So you can focus your aspect ratio distance, so it tells you how far. If you're 4.4 feet away, it's going to give you a 45-inch screen, blah, 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 up to a 100-inch screen. Okay, that's insane. You can get a pretty big screen out of these. That's one of the benefits of them. So if you're playing, you know, co-op games and things like that, those are pretty sweet because you can get a really large screen out of them. Okay, there it is turned on. So let's get it set up like that there. And I'm going to use these focus up and down, but you can see here, obviously the light's there. Let's try some adjustment here. That obviously works. There's like settings and stuff in here. Bluetooth mode. I don't really worry about that right now. Support, nah. Mirrorcast, I guess you can go from your Google phone. AirPlay, that's cool. Media, I guess if you have stuff on your USB, you can use your media there. It's going to scan, see if there's anything on there. But I'm going to use this with probably like a laptop or something like that, or my desktop computer, just so I can get some video that way. Okay, so we'll go with HDMI here from the menu. And looks like it popped up right away, and the speakers are apparently working. I'll have to play with the focus a bit probably as we're going. Yeah, that's pretty good. It's a little blurry on the top. I think you'd want to get it on a proper angle there. Okay, let's have a listen to some music. It doesn't get super loud, and it's not the crispest speakers in the world, but it actually has some decent bass to it, which is surprising that it would have bass. It's going to beat out your laptop speakers if you're using a laptop. Okay, so I moved it back probably about 2 feet. I was pretty close. I was probably like 3 feet from the wall. And this wall has a little bit of texturing to it, so you know there's a little bit of like, it looks crisper over here than, for example, over here. Yeah, it looks better when it's further back. So you don't want to have this like 2 feet or 3 feet from your wall. It just ends up looking like, I don't know, just not super crisp when it's really, really close. That looks good. Like you can see here, you know, it looks pretty good. You just don't want it to be, you just don't want it to be super, super close to the wall. It just, because I mean, the lens itself is curved slightly, so you get around the edges when it's super close, you get a little bit of blurring, thing like that. So it looks much, much, much better when it's moved back. So you actually want this thing to be as a larger screen, I guess, which is interesting. Okay, here we are in Starfield, and it's really loud, actually. So it's decent for music, but it's really good for, like, gaming. I didn't realize this game had so much, like, wind sound. I always play on my laptop, and it sounds like crap. So, Yeah, it looks pretty good. I mean, it's not the crispest image in the world, but again, it's a projector. So. And this is the fun part here. So on my ROG Ally now, and playing some, this is actually a modern game, but an old school like game. And you know, the natural softening of the projector actually adds to this type of game, you can see here. You know, if you're playing the highest fidelity, super ultra realistic 3D modern titles, they'll look okay, but they'll be a little bit softened, right? And then you'll be like, why is this softened? But back in the day, back in my day, we used to have CRT TVs. So when you were playing pixel style games like this, the natural softening of the CRT actually added to the game. And you can see here, it actually looks really nice, actually. It actually softens slightly the image, which on a pixel style game like this actually looks in many ways better, to be honest. Text totally legible here, no issues with the text at all, you can see here. It actually reminds me a lot of playing on a CRT back in the day when I was a youngling. I have all these older devices. I don't like to hook them up to my really modern TVs because when I play older retro style games, they don't necessarily look very good. You know, when you're upscaling on a Wii or something like that, it kind of looks bad because they actually produce, I think it's 480i? I don't even think it's 480p on a Wii. So when you output to 1080p or 4K, even worse, on a 4K, you know, Ultra HD TV, they typically look like crap. Whereas, you know, if you have the projector here, the natural softening of the image that a projector gives you looks great. It's still technically 1080p, so I mean, it's not low resolution or anything. It's just that there's a little bit of a natural softening here. And to be honest, this is primarily how I'm going to end up using these. I have a bunch of these mini consoles. Like I have a Sega Genesis Mini here, I have a Super Nintendo, Nintendo Mini, I have a Commodore Mini, all of these. And they're pretty sweet, but they look okay on a 4K TV, but they can be a little bit blurry, to be honest. But yeah, I mean, this is how these games were meant to be played. These games were not meant to be played on Ultra HD 4K TVs. And you know, the minis are cool because you know they do handle them pretty good, but they get really pixelated on a 4K TV. And that's not how these games were meant to be played. They were meant to be played on something that naturally softened slightly. So anyways, I'm just gonna cut now and just continue to play this because it's awesome. So what do I think about this? I think it probably came across in the video pretty well. For like desktop use, probably not the best, this doesn't have the super fine resolution or anything like that. For movie watching, content watching, YouTube watching, totally fine, looks good, sounds good. And for gaming, I think is where it really shines. Worked well with the ROG Ally, worked good with my laptop when playing Starfield. I was playing some, more retro style games on my ROG Ally, worked perfectly fine, love that. And I love it to be used with these mini consoles over here, or if you have actual retro consoles. I have these, I have real retro consoles like Wii, GameCube, all these old school consoles. And this thing works perfect because it does provide a little bit of a natural softening effect, still 1080p, but it gives a little bit of a natural softening effect, which actually enhances the experience on these type of old school consoles, or if you do emulation or even modern. So I mean, looks good, sounds pretty good. Biggest thing is it doesn't cost very much. The price is quite low, and I think it's actually worth it for the price that you'd pay.